Thomas Edison gave us the electric light bulb and is remembered as one of the greatest inventors of all time.
Without Thomas Edison, we wouldn't even recognize the world as we see it today. Every time we turn on a light switch or an electric motor, we see the fingerprints of his innovation.
Born in 1854 in Milan, Ohio, Edison's first job was selling newspapers on the railroad. By age 15, he was a telegraph operator, where he became interested in electrical science.
Edison set out to be an inventor. He hadn't really gone to school to be a scientist or engineer, but by the time he set up his invention factory in Menlo Park, he was producing inventions the way we would produce machines.
Edison's first invention to sell was an improved stock ticker, which was a huge success. With his proceeds, Edison created a research laboratory at Menlo Park, New Jersey in 1876.
The Menlo Park laboratory that Edison set up was the first of its kind. Today we would have called it an incubator, but at the time it was unique.
In 1880, Edison came upon a really practical incandescent bulb using a carbon filament and also an electrical generating system to distribute the electricity to these light bulbs, which fundamentally changed the way that we live. Our society suddenly became a 24-hour society.
Thomas Edison acquired a staggering 1,093 patents in his lifetime.
The storage battery, the motion picture projector, the motion picture camera, the phonograph or record player as we would call it nowadays.
We take for granted that we can listen to any music we want to hear at any time without having to go to a concert hall. But that was not possible before Edison. Thomas Edison made music and pictures more accessible.
In 1928, Congress valued Edison's work at $15 billion when it awarded Edison the Congressional Gold Medal. When Edison died in 1931 at the age of 84, his estate was only worth $12 million due to decades of defending his patents in court and the Great Depression.
Most of Thomas Edison's research was not to understand why something behaved the way it did, but try to understand how to make it better. Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. And I think we could all learn from that.
What a revelation, what a self-revelation in these opening bars of Brahms' First Symphony. Did you hear what was going on over those relentless hammer blows on the drum? Those two agonized chromatic lines tearing at each other in contrary motion, inflaming us with Brahms' passion and despair. It is Brahms bearing his wounds to us at last, 20 years after he had sketched the first notes. It's as though he has finally dared, in that schizophrenic theme pulling itself apart, to state the duality of his own nature. It's curious how suddenly this seems to have happened. After a long period of wandering, producing mainly chamber works, choral pieces, and songs, if his stars finally and abruptly shifted into a benign astrological pattern. He was now a settled citizen of Vienna, a confirmed bachelor, happy in his little bourgeois dwelling with his old lady friends, and he had grown his famous beard. He was in his early 40s at the beginning of the most fruitful period of his life. The symphonies and concerti would now be pouring out year after year for a good decade. Somehow, I feel that once Brahms had found his hiding place, his Vienna, his beard, so to speak, it was now possible for him to be free and self-revelatory in his music, which became increasingly telling and profound. And it all began with this magic moment, when that painful outcry that opens his First Symphony first pierced the ears and the souls of its first audiences. Do you suppose they knew how lucky they were? And do we today realize how blessed we are?